Tonight, President Trump unveiling Opportunity Zones, a new policy he says will build up communities in need by giving investors tax breaks to invest in low-income areas.
Our goal is to ensure that America's great new prosperity is broadly shared by all of our citizens.
Mr. Equity.
Welcome to another episode of Equity Over Everything. I'm Mr. Equity, and on this channel, we discuss news from around the culture and infuse topics that will promote financial literacy, legacy building, and the development of our community, fam. First, I want to thank the subscribers. We have a unique market, so let's build this channel together. Today, we'll be discussing opportunity zones. Before we get into it, my equity nugget for today is don't be afraid to do for self. Doing for self consists of analyzing your situation from a bird's eye view, taking into consideration all of the resources that are available to you, putting those together in a process that would enable a crawl, walk, run game plan to bring about the much needed change. I don't know your circumstance, but I am confident that with the right mindset and strategic application of resources, you can overcome any barrier to success. As you strategize your path to elevate your circumstances, remember to leverage every resource around you to achieve that goal. Back to the topic of opportunity zones. I want to give you a disclaimer. This isn't one of those self-help videos where you can listen, then move on with your day. The information in this video will take a collaborative effort to put us in a position of ownership. I need you to share this video to get the word out about opportunity zones and the positions of power this policy can bring to our communities. Much like the equity nugget, do for self, this relatively new policy promotes just that. There are many underprivileged communities throughout the U.S. There are a total of 8,764 designated census tracts that are eligible for targeted investment. A low-income census tract is an area where more than half of the people living in that census tract meet the definition of low income. So if a census tract has 4,000 people living in it and more than 50% of those people are low income, then the entire census tract is considered low income as well. The reason I decided to make this video is that I've seen time and time again the disappointment a community experiences when the effects of gentrification has prompted them to leave their neighborhood due to the rising cost. With this policy, we as a collective can invest together and stop gentrification in its tracks. We can now benefit by having collective ownership and equity in our community rather than outside investors. Now that you're familiar with what opportunity zones are and the impact they can have on our communities, let's delve into the 5 W's of opportunity zones. Who? The Investing in Opportunity Act was passed by Congress as part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. This bipartisan bill was co-sponsored by Senators Tim Scott and Cory Booker. What? The Investing in Opportunity Act encourages investment in economically distressed communities that have been long overlooked. An opportunity zone is a low-income census tract that has been nominated by a state governor and certified by the Treasury Department. When? On June 14, 2018, the U.S. Treasury and IRS finalized certification of the opportunity zones. In total, 8,762 census tracts were certified as qualified opportunity zones. These zones are located in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and all 5 inhabited overseas territories. In December 2018, Puerto Rico was granted 2 additional opportunity zones, bringing a total to 8,764 census tracts. Where? An interactive map of opportunity zones can be found at the link in the description. Search to discover if your real estate is located in a qualified opportunity zone. Why? The Opportunity Zone program was created to spur community development and growth, and to actualize over $6 billion of uninvested gains that are sitting on the sidelines. Benefit. An investor who is subject to capital gains as a result of an asset sale can take advantage of the tax incentives of investing in a qualified opportunity zone fund, so long as the investment is made within 180 days of the capital gains event. There are 3 incentives for investing in a qualified opportunity zone investment fund. The first is deferral of taxes on capital gains investing until December 31st, 2026. If your investment has financial gains, you pay 0 tax dollars on those gains until December 31st, 2026. Number 2, reduction of capital gains invested. When the investment is held for 5 years, you receive a 10% discount on the invested money. This means if you hold the investment for 5 years and you invested $10,000, you only pay taxes on the $9,000 that you invested. Additionally, when the investment is held for 7 years, you receive an additional 5% discount on the invested money, which brings the total tax discount to 15% on the invested money. So once again, if you invested $10,000, you only pay taxes on $8,500. Exclusion of gain on qualified opportunity zone property held for at least 10 years. So this means that if you hold an investment in an opportunity zone for a total of 10 years, you meet the qualifications of the full exclusion of any gains that your investment made for that full 10 years. You pay no taxes on your gains for holding that investment for a full 10 years. This means that you pay 0 taxes on any gains the investment procures after holding the investment for 10 years. To further add clarity on opportunity zones, watch this short video.
Millions of Americans live in distressed communities where poverty rates are high and levels of education and workforce participation are low. These areas face many challenges, but a big one is their lack of access to capital. These communities have hopes and dreams, but no one is investing in them. The new Opportunity Zone program can help. It had governors designate 25% of their low-income census tracts to be opportunity zones, more than 8,700 nationwide, and it gave investors tax incentives to funnel capital into revitalization projects there. These projects can serve a variety of needs, from housing to business investments, but one of the biggest opportunities is to strengthen the backbone of many of these communities, education and workforce institutions. Opportunity Zone funds can finance new childcare facilities, fund facilities for quality charter schools, or invest in overlooked entrepreneurs. This program is the largest community development initiative in a generation, but its success isn't guaranteed. Community leaders, policymakers, and philanthropies will have to work together to make these investments pay off for their communities.
Currently, there are no safeguards in place to ensure that gentrification en masse doesn't take place. It is our responsibility to educate and equip our community and provide an investment platform to promote ownership through the application of this policy. There are some actions that we need to take. Do you know of any opportunity zone projects in your area? Odds are you may not. The truth is, there are projects taking place all around you. However, the majority of us are not in those social groups to take part in those investments. As the Equity Nugget suggested, we have to do for self. Before the negativity creeps in that suggests that it's too hard and it can't be done, we have to be intentional when it comes to making progress towards the development of our communities. We don't need the backing of political parties, entertainers, and athletes. We can do for self. Asian Americans have the least representation in Congress, but have become a business staple in the majority of communities throughout the U.S. Yet likely they have a variety of businesses in your area, to include restaurants, nail salons, massage spas, and most importantly, beauty supply stores. We are 100% the target of their business model. Let's develop a similar business model for our African culture and take ownership of the market, products, services that they currently have in their possession. The founders of WeBuyBlack.com and other investors were passionate enough to raise over $430,000 towards the first Black-owned supermarket to sell products from mostly Black farmers. Thus far, 13,000 people offered donations towards helping fund the soul food market. Keep in mind that these donations were charitable donations and not equitable donations. Now that this policy is in place, it's important to note that similar projects moving forward can offer you, the investor, an equity stake in the project. You may live in an opportunity zone or have family members that reside in one. What type of project would you like to see in that community that would bring about positive change and uplift the community? Maybe you're interested in commercial or residential real estate, to include single or multifamily homes, multifamily apartment complexes, or even shopping centers. Maybe you've always wanted to own a franchise or have multiple franchises in your investment portfolio. Our community just saved Popeyes over $26 million in marketing fees with a social media craze surrounding a chicken sandwich. I cringed when I heard that because we don't fully understand our own power. I wouldn't have had an issue if it was reported that African Americans' Popeyes franchise ownership was on the rise, but that's not the case in this matter. It's time to stop entertaining and start entrepreneuring. Our focus must be on legacy building and setting an equitable foundation for the next generation. These opportunity zone investment funds can be a business incubator for our communities, whether they're for a bigger corporation or for a specific investment project. I want you to think of 10 people that would invest into an opportunity zone investment fund. I want you to share this video with all 10 or more of those people. I guarantee they would also have 10 or more people that would invest. Investing in small groups isn't a new concept, but this small group approach would prove productive for our community. Now we will have a massive web of investors that can bring this policy into fruition. We have to be intentional about the changes we want to see in our communities. That change starts with us, doing for self. That's all I have on the topic. Meet me down in the comments to discuss, subscribe, and support this channel, and share this video so that we can expand the knowledge about the Opportunity Zone policy.
Video, let me tell you something. Watch this. See, I'm gonna tell you this, Mike. Listen, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. And see, a goal broken down in the steps becomes a plan. And see, a plan that's backed by action becomes reality.